Hi, this video is based on a community user request regarding how to create a task and add an attachment from OneDrive. Okay, so let's start building the flow now. So for the trigger, I'm going to use here the Outlook 365 connector. Okay, so my plan is when I receive an email and if I set it to flagged, then that's going to create a task, and my email will have some attachments. It could be one attachment or more than one attachment. So that means I need to collect all that attachments in a OneDrive, then create a planner task, and then attach the task under the attach the attachments under the planner task. Okay, right. For this, I'm going to set some subject filter called demo task with attachments and include attachments. Okay, that's my trigger. The next step is I'm going to use create the file from OneDrive. So the plan is first create the file. So go to OneDrive. I'm going to use here OneDrive for Business. There are two connectors here, and then say create file. Okay, and next is a folder path. I'm going to save all my file to this location called flow demo, and then under the dynamic properties I should be able to get the attachment file name here, attachments name. Here it is. Okay, and now the file content. So if I go back and click here, the contents, attachments content also here. Okay, that means the file is going to get created there. So the next task is we can say, okay, go and create a task, and then put all the attachments there then. But remember, I could have more than one attachment. Okay, so let's minimize this step. I will show you something here like the create task step then. So if I go to the planner, create a task, I'm going to use the preview one, so that's the most new connector always, right? Okay, and then here I'm going to select something called C programmers, and I got a plan ID there, and the plan ID I'm going to select C programmers there. Okay, and the title I'm going to say here my task, my demo task. Okay, so that's done. Then how to do the update? We need to use the update task to set the attachments. So for that we need to go and say update. So select the planner and use the action step called update task. So update task details. So that's what you need to use, update task details. Okay, right. Now here remember, I need to use the task ID which I just created task. So for that I'm going to say add a custom item, place your cursor inside, click on the dynamic one, and you should be able to see the ID here. So if you search for ID here, you should be able to see the ID of the task. Okay, that's the one we need to set, and click OK that. So that's done. Okay, the next challenge here is see this here, reference alias name, and then the resource and the type. So if I'm going to set the type to other here, you can set it to the right values if you want. So I'm going to set it to other here, and then name. So the name I can just type test.doc, and the resource link. So ideally the resource link will be a URL. That's the way you set the attachment. So if you save in a OneDrive, I'll show you how to get the OneDrive URL. So for here, for the test, I'll show you. So I'm going to put something called test.com. So the plan is, so this is where we need to construct. So how we can get the update, if you got more than one, ideally these two should be inside the loop. So we need to know the syntax also for how we can dynamically map more than one attachments, because that's in a loop. So the easiest thing to do here is you can click on this T sign there, and that will show you, the syntax you want. So just highlight that. Generally I place the cursor inside and press Ctrl A, then Ctrl C, that will copy it. Okay. Now going back, click back again. Now you can you can remove that. Now I'm going to remove that, and yeah, that's fine. Keep that other there. And the next thing we need to do here is I'm going to declare initialize variable here. Okay, then make it, set the name as attachment details, and make it as an array. That okay, that's an array now. And inside the compose, this is what I'm going to do here. Inside the compose, I'm going to put compose and paste the value earlier we did here. And then here I'm going to replace, so remove this square bracket also. We don't need the square bracket. So that's the format we want. And here I'm going to place, I'm just going to remove the name, click on the dynamic one. We know that's the name, so just say name. Okay, and we could use the name from the attach file name also. So it doesn't matter which one you take here. So I'm going to take here the create file name here from the previous step. You could use from the create file this name also. Then the resource link. Okay, this is the trickiest part. So how do we find the name then? Okay, I'm going to put some question mark here. I'll come back in a minute. So that means what happens here is after creating the file, it creates a structure of the the attachment details in a compose. Then I'm going to use append array here. Okay, right, append array to the variable, select attachment details and map this value here, the output of the compose. So I'm going to say output of the compose here. Okay, so that means once the loop is executed, all the files will be created and collected all the details of the attachments under the array. Okay, so that's the way we can collect in that or in that format. Then it's quite easy. Then when we come to the update task, because if you got more than one, you can't specify it manually. It's quite tricky. It is. That's the reason I introduced this format inside. Then add the append to array one. Then click on the T sign again here, switch to input enter array. And then what you could do here is you could just clear everything and add a dynamic content. Then see the variable attachment details, just paste that there. So that means this will give that format of more than one then, because we collected that in the apply to each. Okay, now we got one more thing to do here. How do we find the path? Okay, so initially what I thought is once a file is created, generally we could go to OneDrive and use the metadata then, like there is something called get file metadata by path, using path. But that gives you slash with the file name only. It was not very helpful, and it won't show up also in the created task. So this is what I did. So what I did is I go to google.com and search for OneDrive online. Okay, then you will see onedrive.live.com. Okay, then click on the sign in. Okay, here we go. So that's the sign in then. Okay, I'm going to sign in now. Okay, so I entered my username and password, so I can see. Okay, that's online. The HTTPS URL for the OneDrive. Then I chose to create my file name under the flow demo. Okay, right. So let's go to flow demo folder. Here it is. So there are a couple of files here. Right, okay, and if I click on the demo file.pdf or the employee.xlx file, just take that one of the file, see the URL it's constructing there, so that's a URL, you can access it, but there are some IDs here also for the Excel sheet. Just close that and see the PDF file, how that's going to come up with. Okay, so for the PDF file, okay, just take this as an example, the PDF one. So I'm going to copy this, Control C, go to a notepad, just open the notepad now and paste it there, Control V that. Right, okay, so there are a couple of things going on here. So let me change this. So what I need to do here is I need to press Control H. So I'm going to change %2f to slash because it's all encoded format that I need to remove that. Okay, that's done. It's more readable format here now. And what else here then? So you can see here, see it's underscore and all that, isn't it? So I'm going to change this to underscore. If you look the URL above, you can see that. And again, this is the underscore one. And then .com, that's again underscore. So all the dots are converted into %5f there. Right, and what are the next ones here? So now here I have got demo file. This is %2e is the .pdf, I believe. So let me try that with %2e with the this one. And then again, this is dot again, %5f. Then again, %5f.com. Here we go. So I got everything there. So I'm going to copy this again and make sure that I can access that file in that format or not. I can't. So let me go and check what I am doing wrong here. Okay, I worked out. So what I did is I'll show you again. So I went to the online OneDrive, then just double click and open one of the files, any files you can open. PDF file is the ideal one here, and then copy that in a notepad. Okay, and next thing is just copy another. There are 2 copies here, right? Okay, this is just as a backup I did here. Now then have a look on this. See this here, my file name is demo file.pdf. So you can see here demo file PDF here. So %2e, I'm going to change that to .pdf here. Okay, so remember demo.pdf here, that's the one. So I'm going to copy that, Control C that, copied it. See, that worked then. When I put dot, that worked. Okay, so that's okay. And suppose if I want to put employees.xlx, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to employees.xlsx. Is the right name? xlsx. Yeah, let's see that works or not. Copy that. There we go. That worked. Okay, so that this way I can open any files. Now again, going back to the notepad. Right, the plan is so I know this curly bracket, put some curly brackets here between that. Okay, and then here we go. I'll tell you later what I'm going to do with this here. So I put 2 curly brackets here. There are no other curly brackets in this, so it's safe to do that way. And copy that link. Okay, I copied it. Then when we are going to append in the compose here, we need that that URL there. Okay, so for that I'm going to add another compose, paste that value here, Control V that. Okay, now we know that's a path it's going to save under. Okay, and then here I got two curly brackets. Remember, I got two curly brackets here. And what I could do is I could add another compose, and for this compose I'm going to say a function. So click on the function and say replace. Okay, so what's the replace? So replace from the previous output 2. So previous output 2, that's where our URL is, comma, old string. So put 2 single quotes and put those curly brackets, then comma. Then we need to map the file name. That's all we need to do here. So again, going back to the dynamic content under the create file, or from the trigger, we can get the file name. So the name of the file. Here we go. So that's done. So that means we should have a clean URL there. And then under, we can remove those question marks now. Go to the dynamic content here and click compose 3 output. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to name it demo task attachment. Click on save. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email and set it to flagged. Then hopefully they should trigger and create the task. So let's see whether that's going to work or not. Okay, so I just sent an email and I have received the email now. And as you can see here, there are 2 attachments. So what I'm going to do here is open my this option here for a flag. Okay, so I flagged my flow now. Sorry, the email now. So that should create the task and get these 2 attachments under the task as well. So let's go back and see the flow start running or not. Might take a little bit time. Okay, it looks like the flow ran successfully. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so you can see under the update task, see there are URLs with the 2 resource links also there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log on to the planner task and see everything good or not. Okay, this is my task. I'm going to open the planner for the task which I created. You could directly log on to task.office.com and then you can navigate the group, the task group you created. Right, so going to the group there and you can see there are 2 files here. See that? So one is flow test. So if I click on that, so that's a task we created with an attachment, and that's the content there. And the second one is sorry, I got the wrong one. Yeah, second one is the Power Pages one. So if I open this, so you can see I got 2 attachments there under that task. So that's the technique you can use then to set the URLs for the OneDrive. So you need to find the OneDrive URL which I mentioned above in my flow, and substitute with the curly brackets to dynamically to the file names. So that should work nicely. That let's go back to the flow again, click on edit again. I can take it to my OneDrive and you can see here about a minute ago those 2 files are created. So that's where you create the file, and then from the OneDrive you set the compose for that and put the curly brackets. Remember, you need to be careful where you're putting that. So take one of the URLs and substitute, remove the file name and substitute with the 2 curly brackets, and then use the replace function to replace that. That's the syntax for that, replace. And then again, we need multiple files. So this is where you can append more than one. That's a technique. Then outside the whole loop, you're going to create a task, and then from there you're going to say you can use the update task details and attach the the array variable there, which contains the attachment details. And finally, you can see the demo task is created with two attachments in that. Okay, so hope this is helpful, and thank you for watching.